What's that? Hi there, guys. Welcome back to a live stream. Today, I'm just kidding. My stream crashed because my laptop doesn't know how to stay up. Here, maybe? Yeah. I'm gonna break for my snack. I'm starting the live right away because stream disconnected. I was in a rush. But it still gave me the same as it was. You're a moderator. The first subscriber gets a moderator. I don't know if I can do it this way because it would fall. But if I did that, it'd be better. Alright, I think I found a good adjustment. Alright, let's get started with forecasting. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is my forecast. So we left off on a Thursday with the thunderstorms. Then Friday we get like heavy rain, and Saturday it's all normal.
So into places like upstate New York, into the Adirondacks, the Green, the White Mountains, we could be looking at an isolated tornado threat as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Now, any storms that are out there this morning, they could rotate, they'd be isolated, but it's mainly along that cold front that we'll see the chance for strong winds. The hail threat starts to go up, that flooding threat starts to build in, and this will continue through our evening hours. But notice by 5 o'clock, peak heating, where those strongest storms are, mainly still west of the I-95 corridor. So Philly, New York, Hartford, Boston, all the way up to Portland, some intense heat is going to be developing, and then the rain will come in. That will drop our temperatures as we go forward in time, and then things start to improve for us as we get to tomorrow.
Let's go to the radar. Let's see any advisories. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle for sure. Right in my feet. You really need to see it. 6'2" and a compact. No slack. Alright, here's the whole world with its advisories. Let's go back to New York. Infrared. What's an infrared satellite? Oh, is that telling how much cloud cover there is? It is starting to cloud up. Let me show you guys the outside. A lot of cloud cover. You guys can see very well. Alright, let's set this back up. I believe it was there. I'm back, guys. My grandma's coming in. I really don't need her to come in and start talking to me. I mean, she did came in already. Don't worry. What's a visible satellite? I mean, she did came in already. Oh, it's saying how much cloud cover there is. I don't need cloud cover. Oh, it's saying how much cloud cover there is. I don't need cloud cover. Down. Bow. Bow down, 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 bow down. Down, 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 down. So it seems like I'm in the blue/yellow, so that means possibly 50 miles per hour winds I'm getting. So it seems like I'm on the blue. Let's go back to radar. Alright, I'm gonna go to the weather and see what's saying. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like to see a wiggle wiggle. For sure. Don't copyright me, YouTube. I swear, don't. Ronnie in my feet. You really need to see it. The song has been stuck in my head ever since this morning. So it looks like some rain is possibly coming. So it looks like some rain is possibly coming. Seems. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like to see a wiggle wiggle. For sure. You're riding in my feet. You really need to sing it. 6 feet 2 and you're compact. No slack. Get some red wine. Bye. Doo. Boo. Boo. Hello there, viewer. Hello there. Hello there. I swear there was live chat. I don't know why it disabled. Anyways, here's the weather, guys. Hello there, viewers. How's it doing? How's it going? I'm gonna see if my thing, my live chat went off. money don't jiggle jiggle. One sec, guys. Live chat will be. I'm gonna fix slow mode next stream.
Everything you'll need is right in the app. You can even get paid next day. With Shift Key, you can control your own work schedule. Automatically ensure your credentials are always up to date and track all your earnings in one place. Shift Key empowers you to work when you want, where you want, and for the pay you like.
Whatever. Fucking YouTube wants to disable everything. Just watch, guys. That's all I can say. I'll re-enable it next stream. Trust me.
We're starting your West forecast. Morning view of Seattle, Washington. Great shot of the Space Needle. We will be watching as the coastal areas, including Seattle, start to warm up over the next few days. Although we do have a stray shower or two that's possible along that I-5 corridor. A lot of the showers, though, going to be inland through the mountainous areas and off to the east, where it's actually much colder with some of that snow still in the forecast. Over the last 2 days, you can see how into areas of Wyoming and up into Montana, we've had some of that snow, come through, and we are still dealing with more of that in the high country. To start the morning, a lot of us, as you get on the eastern side of the mountains, it's much chillier, and we're starting with Boston freezing Thursday. Again, the growing season has started, and with temperatures dropping down into the 20s and 30s, even in the lower elevations, is going to lead to maybe some frost zapping, some of those tender trees or any of the, new flowers that have started growing through these areas. So as we go through the next few days, we will be warming up. Places like Casper getting back near 60 degrees. Miles City, we're getting closer to average as we get into Tuesday, where temperatures exit the 60s and break that 70-degree mark. But not before another cold night for us again, especially into the high country where we can be down into the teens and 20s with additional snow chances. We do have a chance for additional snow across the high country today from Idaho to Montana, especially Wyoming. Idaho Falls, Cody, Casper, lower elevations, maybe just rain or wintry mix possible. And then that system, this wave of energy, that's just what that brown line means. It'll bring a lot more rain into the central United States where we're still dealing with scattered activity through our Monday and into our Tuesday with additional rain and snow blossoming as it moves into the higher elevations. When it comes to the accumulation, it's not going to be a lot, but enough that it's going to be nuisance and chilly and still gray through these areas as we go into our Tuesday. High country could see about 3 to 5 inches.
Let's see how we're doing.
Highest of the peaks.
And let me guess, I'm down to one view again.
About half an inch
Called it.
Cheyenne scattered showers today, tomorrow, and into Tuesday, but no.
My money don't jiggle jiggle. It falls
by Thursday and Friday, and dry as we head into the weekend. Back out to the I-5 corridor, notice the high temperature in Portland today, 73, even Seattle, 70, so it's much warmer. We will cool down just a bit, though, as we have a cold front trying to work on shore. It's just going to bring in some clouds, maybe some light rain, not a lot of activity, but enough that we will feel the difference. Today, it's very mild, though. Clear skies, lots of sunshine across areas
Dan,
of
you're
Washington
selfish, not you're jaded.
Clouds building in. Temperatures drop just a little bit. Places like Spokane, Pullman, Baker City, you might get in on a shower or two for Monday afternoon. Not a ton of rain, but enough that you'll have to deal with bringing the umbrella. And then as we get to Tuesday, you'll notice another round of active weather tries to work in. It's not a lot of rain. Not everyone will see it, especially Southern Oregon. You might not get in on any of that. Boise, you might not see much, maybe a shower or two. With Spokane, especially tomorrow, we're watching that. Maybe a stray shower Tuesday. But we get several dry days before the next cold front comes in by the end of the week. Let's take you south, though. Winter Park, Colorado, courtesy of Atlanta Cameron, out in the snow. Can you believe they're still skiing, Patrick?
Yeah, and
What?
one thing that we've been seeing there across parts of Colorado are some heavy snowfall numbers, and it's actually going to stay active into the Rockies over the next few days. We got several waves of energy that are just going to keep making their way through the region. Let's go ahead and talk about what we got with the fire weather alerts. Red flag warnings still ongoing into southern Utah, far western Colorado. So that means that fire conditions are still
I don't even know why it's
prevalent.
even playing in my head.
You need to be mindful of anything that can create a spark or flame. There we can see that frontal boundary with the
And
low pressure system
whoever
right
came in
over the
that's
four corners
new,
on the eastern side of the flow. Scattered
watching
showers that could
TV.
impact areas like Denver and Colorado Springs and Pueblo later on this afternoon
Which
into
is
the
the
evening.
news.
That low eventually will shoot down into Texas, and look at those storms that get going. Don't see as much as far as the active weather into the southern four corners, maybe New Mexico, far eastern parts of that state might get some much needed moisture. Temperature-wise today, it's going to be a hot one in Vegas, 93, 97 in Phoenix today, 69 though in San Diego, so feeling very comfortable there down into Southern California. Those temperatures actually a few degrees cooler than normal for today, but places like Roswell and Denver, 15 to 20 degrees below average, thanks to the front that has come through. We look at those temperatures for today. Tuba City into 83, White River 78, Tucson 96, the expected high there. Silver City 76, Roswell, we're at 70 for that expected high. As we look at some extended forecasts here, not much of a rain or a thunderstorm chance in this region, except for Amarillo. As we get that boundary that builds in, we'll see some moisture coming in from West Texas that could trigger some shower and thunderstorm activity. Heat is on the way. We're well above normal with that high temperature in Tucson. 86 is our average for this part of southeast Arizona. But look at the numbers. They keep getting stronger. 98 by Wednesday. I'm on 104 by Friday. That's well above normal for this time of the year. It's not just Arizona, but New Mexico getting in on this big warming trend. We're up to 90 in Albuquerque by Thursday. 96 on Friday, and then
Albuquerque. That's how you pronounce it.
Albuquerque. The northern four corners, so we're checking out Colorado and Utah. Salt Lake City, good Sunday to you there. 68 the expected high. Grand Junction, Colorado, we're going to be about 74, down to 45 tonight. 40 in Denver tonight, and 36 in Colorado Springs. So temperatures, even in the morning hours, they are going to be noticeably improved to how it was over this weekend, where a lot of areas in Colorado and Utah were well below freezing. There's some more numbers as far as the forecast. The next 3 days, Grand Junction will get a warming trend by Wednesday. Could be up near 80 there. St. George, how about 90s by Wednesday? That's right, Wednesday afternoon, we're up to 90.
Damn, you are selfish.
There's Denver, where you can see those temperatures staying well below that normal high of 73 this time of the year, but we're right back above that number, well above it, I should say, by Friday with a high of 88. Through the desert Southwest,
I'm going to say this for the last time, YouTube, stuck in my head.
Coachella's going to hit 94, Blythe 97, same for Bullhead City 97, that expected high. There's some of that triple-digit heat on the way for southern Nevada, the Las Vegas area. Maybe you got plans heading to Vegas for the end of the week. Well, you're definitely going to have to hang out by the pool and stay cool. A high of 102 by Thursday. We'll be back. More Weather Nation straight ahead, including the latest on the top.
The news shall be ending. Now story time about the storms. So basically, I had to go to Rochester for an errand or so. Let's just not talk about that, but the storm. First, it started with some negative charge lightning, then it started to keep on going faster, and the rain first came down nice in like a little drizzle, and then went like, that's what you hear in the car. That's what you hear in the car, but bass boosted. That's what you hear in the car, but bass boosted. That's what you hear in the car, but bass boosted. That, but 10 times louder. And there's a lot of hail, the lightning. Lightning strikes. Yeah. And leaving after the errands were complete, the lightning was so strong that it lit up the whole sky. And now I'll continue the story later because weather's back. Oops. We're back. It's 10 o'clock. At 11, apparently we're supposed to get a thunderstorm.
And welcome into Weather Nation. Meteorologist Patrick Crawford here, sharing 3 cameras for you this morning. We got Colorado Springs, Colorado. You can see a few snowflakes happening there in that part of the Centennial State. We've got the sun out in Philadelphia, and as well as the rain and the clouds down in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm actually going to start in the northeast because this is where we could see some severe weather today. And I will say, just the last few scans on Viper radar, it is showing some developing thunderstorm activity in the state of Maine. So let me go ahead and zoom in right here. And you can see just within the last few minutes, right around the Lincoln area there along the I-95 corridor, we just had some thunderstorms generate in the last, it looks like 20-minute scan there, pushing right into the I-95 corridor, kind of between Millinocket and Lincoln and down towards Old Town. We're tracking some thunderstorms, waiting to see if these continue to strengthen, because this is a part of the country where we do have severe thunderstorm chances for today, especially during those peak heating hours this afternoon. Looks like we got a rogue thunderstorm that's around Edison, New Jersey, just to the west of New York City. That has weakened quite a bit now. It looks like it's just some showers heading towards Yonkers and NYC. So we'll continue to keep track of that activity as well, because again, that's a part of the region where we could see some severe weather. We've also got some thunderstorms that have really started to pick up here on the last few
Don't
days,
copyright me,
YouTube. Both Georgia and South Carolina, from Statesboro just to the east around that I-95 corridor. We've got some heavy rain and frequent lightning, so we need to watch out for some ponding on the road, some very low visibility in these areas. Now, another area that I want to keep an eye on is right here along the Florida Panhandle. If you're located along the Gulf Coast and you were planning on heading to the beach today, well, hopefully you got in your beach activities very early this morning, because it is about to get very stormy, frequent lightning, and very intense rain. You can kind of see the curvature here that we have on the leading edge of these showers and these storms. That's going to be damaging winds. That's going to be very strong winds coming in to Pensacola, to Destin, to Panama City, up into Niceville, and up towards Crestview along that I-10 corridor. There could also be some rotation within these storms. We see, I think I got a local radar up here. We do want to see what's happening within that radar, and I'm going to bring it up here. This is the Tallahassee radar, so it is a bit far out, but it does show us that we have some very heavy rain, and maybe even try to pick up on some hail right here. It looks like a hail core trying to form. And then right to the south of Destin, there could be intense rain as well as some hail that's trying to develop in here as well. And this is a part of the country where we have severe chances building in throughout the day. Storm Prediction Center highlighting this area from areas of southern and eastern Virginia all the way down to the Gulf shores of southeastern Louisiana. So maybe you're watching in New Orleans, or you're in Jacksonville, you're in Columbia, South Carolina. Just a heads up, there will be some strong thunderstorms trying to build in for later on today. We look out to the west, it's general thunderstorm chances into Oklahoma and Texas. No severe weather for this part of the country, but we've had some intense weather coming through southern Texas. Look at Corpus Christi and Kingsville. All that lightning, Rockport about to get hit with this, looks like Sinton getting in on this extreme weather as far as frequent lightning and heavy rain. So just looking in this window here, I'm going to bring up the lightning counter. And just in this window over this part of the Gulf Coast of Texas, we've already experienced 750 lightning strikes within the last 10 minutes. Now, that's both cloud to cloud and cloud to ground lightning. So definitely a very active pattern here this morning along the Gulf Coast there of Texas. And then watch this line here. Look at all the lightning that we have associated with this activity as well. Anywhere from New Iberia, Louisiana, and out into the open Gulf waters. I'll put Viper into motion so we can see the movement of these showers and storms. And they're moving slowly, but they are slowly moving towards the east. And a lot of heavy rain starting to come down into that part of the Pelican State. I want to look at the rainfall we've had just within the last 6 hours. And look at these numbers just jumping off the map here. Right around Galveston, we've seen almost 4 inches, and just to the north of I-10, we have had over 4 inches west of Beaumont, and we can see a lot of these numbers coming in through those parishes of southern Louisiana, ranging anywhere from about 3 to almost 4 inches of rainfall within the last 6 hours. And when I bring that radar back up, it's still raining, so flooding definitely going to be a concern for this part of the country as well this morning. But let's go into more detail on the severe chances, because places like Binghamton, New York, there will be that opportunity that we see some strong thunderstorms trying to develop later on today. We're already getting some sunshine mixing in through that cloud cover. Kind of looks a bit filtered there on the camera. Well, that's the sunshine that's helping to make the atmosphere more unstable. It's helping to produce a lot of that fast rising air. We're going to get this strong updraft for a hail and wind potential. There's going to be some rotation as well, so we might even see an isolated tornado. That's going to be northern Maine, mainly into that area, maybe far northern New Hampshire. We also have that 5% risk of tornadoes, but from Burlington down towards Concord, Rutland as well, there going to be at least some isolated spinning, maybe a straight tornado warning, just tracking and following along with these storms as they get their act together. You can see some of those individual cells
for tornado in northeast is like
and the cold front coming up. So from places like Williamsport, Binghamton, all the way up towards Millinocket and Bangor, and then along the coast of Maine and into Massachusetts. And this is going to bring in some cooler weather. Places like Boston today likely going to be setting a record high. That's how much heat's going to be building along the Atlantic coast. This is going to be fast-moving shower and thunderstorm activity. So we're not looking at anything widespread as far as torrential rain or areas getting 4, 5, 6 inches overall within the next 12 to 24 hours. But northern Maine, consistent pockets of heavy rain, maybe up near 3 inches. And then a few isolated spots, especially down into western Virginia, we might be tracking some of that heavier rain in the form of 1 to 2, maybe up towards 3 inches overall. So because of those isolated heavy rain pockets that we'll be tracking anywhere from northern Maine down through the mid-south and through the mid-Atlantic, there'll at least be an isolated chance for some flash flooding. Doesn't mean we're guaranteed flash flooding, no, but it's just something that we have to monitor, because you get a lot of this heavy rain over the same areas. The ground gets so waterlogged, it's just not going to be able to hold any more moisture. So Buffalo, we'll be watching that flood threat for you in western New York. Temperature-wise, really starting to warm up. New York by Wednesday, Thursday, above average by about 5 degrees, but we also keep it active in this part of the Empire State. We added some storms Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It looks like it could get drier, though, just in time for the weekend. Watching that severe weather threat for places like Baltimore, Maryland. So maybe you're watching in Baltimore. Good Sunday to you there. We're looking at 90 for the high today, 70% chance for those storms. It does get cooler.
Let's go to stories. East Regional Forecast. All right, more stories. So, anyways, when we were leaving Rochester, the lightning was spreading up the whole way almost. I could have saw the clouds. Those clouds were dark as shit. And another thing, while we were finishing up the errand, I heard a tornado siren. I was like, oh God, don't tell me that's a tornado siren. I swear I thought I heard a tornado siren. Because I heard the but I couldn't hear well because of the rain going like this. Yeah, everyone shut the fuck up. Alright, I'll just turn it up once we switch to other. And another thing, when we got home, when me and my grandma got home, we were just relaxing like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. I saw lightning. I was like, oh my fucking God. It's been a while ever since I saw lightning because even though I saw tons of lightning, still. Yeah. And another thing, And another thing, I was worried about hydroplaning, the car getting extremely soaked, or the car getting damaged, all those outcomes. Alright, we're gonna get to the story later. That clock is always 2 minutes behind.
Well, that's the sound of heavy rain coming down yesterday from some of these strong storms that worked through the Midwest. We're going to continue to have that potential of some intense storms once again today, but the threats have shifted eastward. The storms that will be out there this morning, mainly for the mid-Atlantic, all the way up through the Northeast. But before the storms come in, we can have some record high temperatures across some major cities like the I-95 corridor,
today.
and that could drop our temperatures and bring in a chance for some heavy rain. The last 24 hours, we've had a few strong storms in the warm sector of this cold front. You can see that line right there through the Ohio River Valley and up into the Northeast. We've had some strong storms with hail and strong wind, but as we go through the day today, you can see how that cold front is going to move into these areas shaded in yellow, and that's going to bring a risk for these storms to intensify. There could also be an isolated tornado that tries to develop. Now, through the green, the White Mountains, and up into the northern parts of Maine, it's very hilly. So to be able to see these storms really get going, it's a rarity for the Northeast. So we'll be tracking them very, very closely. As we time things out this morning, there's already rain out towards the Great Lakes and some strong storms isolated. But as we get into this afternoon, we'll have that moisture coming in from the Atlantic, coming in from the south as that cold front's working west to east. So there'll be some spin to these storms. But strong gusty winds, Pittsburgh, all the way through Syracuse this afternoon. Before the storms arrive, notice they don't get to the I-95 corridor until 5, 6 o'clock. Peak heating is 3, 4, 5, so we could break some records before these strong storms work through, and then overnight that cold front's out of here, and we'll be dealing with some lingering showers a little farther south this week, off and on storm chances Monday, Tuesday for places like Philly and Baltimore. Otherwise, like I mentioned, it could be a very hot forecast for us today. We do have some of these areas that will be getting upwards of the 90s, but feeling over 100 as we go forward in time. So looking at the forecast, Pittsburgh about 76 this afternoon, but check out Hartford, Connecticut. You're one of the spots that could break a record. 96 out there, same thing in Boston. Notice Boston, you go from 96 down into the 70s, and Tuesday from the 60s. So that cooler air is on the way, but it doesn't last long because as we go towards the end of the week, we warm back up and more storm chances are in the forecast. Big picture shows that we could see some localized ponding through these areas, but down into Virginia, West Virginia, the chance for some heavy rain will be a little bit of a longer stretch for us. You can see now through Tuesday, some of that heavy rain coming into the Appalachia. It's very easy to flood through here, coming into the Blue Ridge, Harrisonburg. You could see some localized flooding. Storms fire up today along the cold front, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. The cold front moves through. There could be some intense wind with some of these storms and maybe some hail, especially through Charleston, West Virginia, through Washington, D.C. That moves out of here again overnight. But there's still some moisture on the backside of that, so we will still be looking at that chance for some scattered showers through Kentucky, through West Virginia.
If I have
Virginia,
any new viewers below, I can't see right now. See if I have any more viewers because the laptop is slanted.
It's very hot along the I-95, mainly in the 90s from D.C. to Richmond, all the way down to Danville and Virginia. A little bit cooler on the backside of that cold front. We're down into the 70s, and you can see the stormy pattern sticking around the next few days. Well, let's take you south because there could be some isolated strong storms here too, Patrick.
Yeah, we've got that cold front, that stormy pattern that's just going to continue to dominate the forecast. And we'll keep an eye on how things are shaping up throughout the day today. North Carolina, down the Atlantic coast, and even down into the Gulf of Mexico. All these areas could see some of those strong thunderstorms along the cold front. Really a stormy pattern as we move into this next upcoming work week because there's another system that's going to be impacting the south central U.S. across Texas.
I got it. Been live for a while now.
Valley. We'll get that system in the southeast later on into the work week. Chelsea mentioned some of that heat. We've got that here in the southeast.
I'm going to go live until 12.
90 Columbus, Atlanta 87. Have to keep in mind it's going to be very muggy in these areas. Dew point temperatures 60s and 70s. So that 90, well, that could be topping out in the upper 90s, near 100 degrees. We'll include all the moistures. 95 are expected high in Tampa, Florida today. That's going to be feeling closer to the lower 100s. That's well above normal Tampa by about 6 degrees there. Columbus,
Dallas,
Atlanta,
San
Charlotte,
Antonio,
also above normal. But where we had the cold front come through,
Chicago,
what's the result of that
Lexington,
cold
Memphis,
front? Cooler temperatures. We're actually below that average across a good portion of the
Duluth,
Arctic and
Minneapolis,
that lower Mississippi Valley
Milwaukee,
region.
then
Severe outlook up on the screen where we see the yellow
York,
from
Boston,
northern Florida and along the
Baltimore,
Gulf Coast all the way up through the Mid-Atlantic. That's where we could get some of the stronger thunderstorms. There's the front coming through. Look at all the rain we see. And then
Mobile,
Louisiana,
Tampa,
Mississippi
Miami.
could get some flooding potential with those areas along the Gulf Coast from really places like Gulfport, Biloxi, along the Gulfport of Mississippi to Mobile, over towards Pensacola, into the Florida Panhandle. We could even have some waterspout potential. Might even get some rotating thunderstorms with an added threat. Of course, when a waterspout moves on shore, then that changes it to a tornado, and there could be some isolated tornado warnings for tomorrow, especially
Don't
tonight into
copyright
tomorrow
me,
morning, I
YouTube.
should say. And then we get that next system bringing in all that rain along the I-35 corridor towards the Mississippi River Valley. That's the system that I'm tracking for later on in this work week for the rest of the southeast region. There's the rainfall through Tuesday afternoon, and there are several spots in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia that we could see in excess of 6 inches of rain.
Holy
Look at the
shit,
rain we've
that's
had
a lot of
already in the
rain.
last 2 days down across Florida from
severe
Jacksonville
thunderstorm
to
warning.
central and the south central part of the state. There's many areas that
If you live in Texas right now, there's a severe thunderstorm warning, and I expect you guys to stay away from
so much
windows.
moisture that any additional moisture on top of that's going to lead to runoff and the potential for flooding.
And a flash flood warning for
From
Louisiana.
New Orleans over towards Mobile,
So,
going to feel closer to the low 90s.
if you have a
with that
flash
humidity.
flood,
I mentioned Tampa in the
flash
90s
flood,
today, Cape Coral,
don't
we're
be
94
scared,
there, Melbourne,
be
86
prepared.
for that expected high this afternoon. Get some of those thunderstorms around Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, down towards Melbourne later today. It's tomorrow morning. We'll be keeping an eye on that Gulf Coast region. That's where we could see some of those storms producing waterspout potential and some damaging winds. Now we'll be back in just storms producing waterspout potential and some damaging.
New York City. Beautiful New York City, where I'm never gonna see. Anyways, so let's get back to the story. There was hail reports, if you guys saw, and I'm going live all the way until 12 now, because I want to have a 2-hour live stream. And yeah, let me edit the title. Let me edit the title. Weather discussion and storm talking and yes. I have to turn this on. Alright, I'm done now. Alright, just right on time. 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 Alright, right on time. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. My money don't jiggle jiggle. Don't copyright
And
me.
welcome into Weather Nation. Meteorologist Patrick Crawford here, sharing 3 cameras for you this morning. We've got Colorado Springs, Colorado. You can see a few snowflakes happening there in that part of the Centennial State. We've got the sun out in Philadelphia, and as well as the rain and the clouds down in Lake Charles. I'm actually going to start in the northeast because this is where we could see some severe weather today. And I will say, just the last few scans on Viper radar, it is showing some developing thunderstorm activity in the state of Maine. So let me go ahead and zoom in right here. And you can just see just within the last few minutes, right around the Lincoln area there along the I-95 corridor, we just had some thunderstorms generated in the last, it looks like 20 minutes scan there, pushing right into the I-95 corridor, kind of between Millinocket and Lincoln.
After the update of this forecast, I'm going to show you guys
thunderstorms. Waiting to see if these continue to strengthen because this is a part of the country where we do have severe thunderstorm chances for today, especially during those peak heating hours this afternoon. Looks like we got a rogue thunderstorm that's around Edison, New Jersey, just to the west of New York City. That is weakened quite a bit now. It looks like it's just some showers heading towards Yonkers and NYC. So we'll continue to keep track of that activity as well, because again, that's a part of the region where we could see some severe weather. We've also got some thunderstorms that have really started to pick up here on the last few scans, right on the border with both Georgia and South Carolina, from Statesboro just to the east around that I-95 corridor. We've got some heavy rain and frequent lightning, so we need to watch out for some ponding on the roads and very low visibility in these areas. Now, another area that I want to keep an eye on is right here along the Florida Panhandle. If you're located along the Gulf Coast and you were planning on heading to the beach today, well, hopefully you got in your beach activities very early this morning, because it is about to get very stormy, frequent lightning, and very intense rain. You can kind of see the curvature here that we have on the leading edge of these showers and these storms. That's going to be damaging winds. That's going to be very strong winds coming in to Pensacola, to Destin, to Panama City, up into Niceville, and up towards Crestview and along that I-10 corridor. There could also be some rotation within these storms. Let me see. I think I got a local radar up here. We do want to see what's happening within that radar, and I'll go ahead and bring it up here. This is the Tallahassee radar, so it is a bit far out, but it does show us that we have some very heavy rain and maybe even trying to pick up on some hail right here. It looks like a hail core trying to form, and then right to the south of Destin, there could be intense rain as well as some hail that's trying to develop in here as well. And this is a part of the country where we have severe chances building in throughout the day. Storm Prediction Center highlighting this area from areas of southern and eastern Virginia all the way down to the Gulf Shores of southeastern Louisiana. So maybe you're watching in New Orleans, or you're in Jacksonville, you're in Columbia, South Carolina, just a heads up that there will be some strong thunderstorms trying to build in for later on today. We look out to the west, it's general thunderstorm chances into Oklahoma and Texas. No severe weather for this part of the country, but we've had some intense weather coming through southern Texas. Look at Corpus Christi and Kingsville. All that lightning, Rockport about to get hit with this. Looks like Sinton getting in on this extreme weather as far as frequent lightning and heavy rain. So just looking in this window here, I'm going to bring up the lightning counter. And just in this window over this part of the Gulf Coast of Texas, we've already experienced 750 lightning strikes within the last 10 minutes. Now, that's both cloud to cloud and cloud to ground lightning. So definitely a very active pattern here this morning along the Gulf Coast there of Texas. And then watch this line here. Look at all the lightning that we have associated with this activity as well, anywhere from New Iberia, Louisiana, and out into the open Gulf waters. I'll put Viper into motion so we can see the movement of these showers and storms. And they're moving slowly, but they are slowly moving towards the east. And a lot of heavy rain starting to come down into that part of the Pelican State. I want to look at the rainfall we've had just within the last 6 hours. And look at these numbers just jumping off the map here. Right around Galveston, we've seen almost 4 inches. And just to the north of I-10, we have had over 4 inches west of Beaumont. And we can see a lot of these numbers coming in through those parishes of southern Louisiana, ranging anywhere from about 3 to almost 4 inches of rainfall within the last 6 hours. And when I bring that radar back up, it's still raining. So flooding definitely going to be concerns for this part of the country.
Looking around, staying low, nature
But let's go into more detail on the severe chances, because places like Binghamton, New York, there will be that opportunity that we see some strong thunderstorms trying to develop later on today. We're already getting some sunshine mixing in through that cloud cover. Kind of looks a bit filtered there on the camera. Well, that's the sunshine that's helping to make the atmosphere more unstable. It's helping to produce a lot of that fast rising air. We're going to get those strong updrafts for a hail and wind potential. There's going to be some rotation as well. So we might even see an isolated tornado. And that's going to be for northern Maine, mainly into that area, maybe far northern New Hampshire. We also have that 5% risk of tornadoes, but from Burlington down towards Concord, Rutland as well, there could be at least some isolated spinning, maybe a stray tornado warning, just tracking and following along with these storms as they get their act together. You can see some of those individual cells with the daytime heating this afternoon and the cold front coming up. So from places like Williamsport, Binghamton, all the way up towards Millinock and Bangor, and then along the coast of Maine and into Massachusetts. And this is
be weather aware, guys, for the
Northeast. Like Boston today, likely going to be setting a record high. That's how much heat's going to be building along the Atlantic coast.
I'm already being weather aware.
Shower and thunderstorm activity. So we're not looking at anything widespread as far as torrential rain or areas getting 4, 5, 6 inches overall within the next 12 to 24 hours. But northern Maine, we could see some pockets of heavy rain, maybe up near 3 inches, and then a few isolated spots, especially down into western Virginia. We might be tracking some of that heavier rain in the form of 1 to 2, maybe up towards 3 inches overall. So because of those isolated heavy rain pockets that we'll be tracking anywhere from northern Maine down through the mid-south and through the mid-Atlantic, there'll at least be an isolated chance for some flash flooding. Doesn't mean we're guaranteed flash flooding, no, but this is something that we have to monitor because you get a lot of this heavy rain over the same areas. The ground gets so waterlogged, it's just not going to be able to hold any more moisture. So Buffalo, we'll be watching that flood threat for you in western New York. Temperature-wise, really start to warm up.
If there's any new viewers, hello.
Average by about 5 degrees, but we also keep it active in this part of the Empire State. We added some storms Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Looks like it's going to get drier, though, just in time for the weekend. Watching that severe weather threat for places like Baltimore, Maryland. So if you're watching in Baltimore, good Sunday to you there. We're looking at 90 for the high today, 70% chance for those storms. It does get cooler before some of those warmer temperatures, but closer to average highs start to build in by the end of the week. Now, we'll be back in a few minutes with the East Regional Forecast. Keep it here.
Here's the radar, guys. Oh, shit. Now you don't need to see this. Oh, shit. Now you don't need to see this. Oh, shit. My money don't jiggle, it falls. I like to see a wiggle, for sure. It falls. I like to see a wiggle, for sure. It falls. I like to see a wiggle, for sure. It falls. Your skin is free. Your skin is free. What the fucking sucks. Alright, thunderstorms are gonna happen at 12. Alright, thunderstorms are gonna happen at 12. Alright, thunderstorms are gonna happen. My money don't jiggle, it falls. My money don't jiggle, Alright, weather's back, guys. Alright, weather's back, guys.
Our story begins happily ever after. The end. Oh, right. This story would normally have conflict, drama, sweat. But this technology we invented makes sure more passengers make their connecting flights. The end.
Never mind, they're still ads.
For real this time.
Nope, they're back. I repeat, there's a flash flood warning for Louisiana. Be weather aware. How long have we even been live for?
Gotta check out the time lapse
For an
of
hour.
some of the, I guess, would that be fog? It's a little bit of smoke almost, just from the buildings, the heat that we're seeing some of that condensation taking place in some of the storms that work through Chicago. Now, we are going to be watching for more of that, but farther east. Over into the central United States, we'll just see some scattered showers that will be developing. It's chilly this morning, especially where we are dealing with frost and freeze concerns up into the northern tier of the region. Scattered showers will be in that forecast, but we will be warming up as we go through the start of our work week. But we're going to start down into Kansas, Missouri. This is where we could see some of the most rainfall over the next few days, especially as we go Monday into Tuesday. We can put down about 1 inch to 2 inches of rainfall accumulation. Today, for the most part, it's quiet. We'll get a break. Scattered showers and thunderstorms start to work in for Monday morning through Tuesday. So off and on heavy rain possible, some rumbles of thunder, maybe some gusty winds. And that will work through during the day on Tuesday as well before that exits and we'll see a break. But check out our temperature trend. We are below average. Places like Kansas City, we're going to stay in the mid-60s the next several days, but we should be in the mid and upper 70s. Places like Peoria, we're going to warm up just a bit. We're getting out of the 60s closer to 70 degrees. Same thing in St. Louis, going from the 60s back into the 70s as we head towards that midweek time frame. Springfield, Missouri, we have showers in the midweek forecast Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so it's not until the weekend that we warm up as soon as we start to dry out. Up to the north, we do have some frost and freeze concerns. Temperatures this morning are cool, significantly cooler in places like Nebraska and Iowa, where we're 5, 10, 15 degrees cooler than we were to start the day yesterday. But it is going to warm up for us here. Notice some of our temperatures so far this morning. Lots of 20s and 30s. So anywhere that we have any of those flowers that have started to bloom or tree buds, they might get zapped. We might have some concerns as we round out this forecast for you when it comes to our sensitive vegetation. Bismarck, we're getting back into the 60s, but scattered showers start to work in tomorrow. Minneapolis, we're staying in the 60s as we go through this week. High pressure's in control today. Most of us won't have any showers until this evening. Valentine, Cheyenne. All that moisture ejects and comes through these areas as we go into our Monday. Notice the storms are pretty scattered Monday, same thing into Tuesday, working into Iowa, eventually Minnesota, Wisconsin, as we head towards that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. Not as much rain in these areas, but it's a soggy forecast for the start of our work week in some spots. Minneapolis, those storms won't arrive until Wednesday, and then you can see we warm up into the 70s as we head towards the weekend. Next few days across the Great Lakes, same thing. We're going to stay mainly in the 60s for places like Detroit, still below average, but back up into Traverse City, we are warming up and we're getting closer to where we should be for this time of year. Extended forecast in Chicago, scattered showers Wednesday, Thursday, and then you can see 70s by Friday. Let's take it south, though, where we did see some pretty intense thunderstorms yesterday, Patrick.
Oh, yeah, that's Martree, Arkansas on Saturday. Not only that very heavy rain, but you can see even the small
the hail.
that kind of pebble-sized hail that was falling. We do have more heavy rain and thunderstorms on the way. Really an active pattern here for the region all week long, where we're going to be dealing with flash flooding potential, severe thunderstorm risk, where we're going to have that hail threat, the damaging wind threat, even the tornado threat building in. Look at the wide range of temperatures we're getting today. Down to the Rio Grande Valley, it's 92 in Brownsville, but Oklahoma City 68 for that expected high. Same for Little Rock, will be in the 80s in Jackson, 85 in the Crescent City of New Orleans. We see that heavy thunderstorm activity. This is where we could see that slow moving shower and thunderstorm development. So you get these heavy downpours with a slow moving shower or thunderstorm. That's where the flooding threat can really come into play. But also look at the open Gulf waters. Just so much available moisture for these storms to work with. So we're going to have some hazardous water conditions along the coast from the shores of Texas all the way along that Gulf Coast into Florida in the coming days as well. And then we'll see out towards the Big Bend into areas of far west Texas, where we'll get maybe some heavy showers and thunderstorms as well. Wide range for coverage area for that heavy rain. 1 to 3 inches very likely from Texas and Oklahoma all the way across the Mississippi River Valley. In some areas in Mississippi, we definitely could be getting even higher when it comes to those rainfall totals, maybe 4+ inches overall. New Orleans, we're at 85 today. Lake Charles at 87. Corpus Christi will go 85 for that expected high. We look at some extended forecasts. We get through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Alexandria, it's stormy. Houston, it's stormy. San Antonio, we got storms all the way through the middle part of the work week. You can see those consecutive days of 90 degrees in Dallas, Texas. No fire weather alerts out here into West Texas today, so we're getting a bit of a change in that weather pattern where we could see some moisture, maybe Midland, maybe down into Fort Stockton. These are areas that desperately do need that moisture. But out west in El Paso, we're cool today, feeling pretty nice there in far west Texas at 82. But then we're right back into the 90s for tomorrow. We'll go 92 into El Paso tomorrow afternoon. There's Oklahoma City dealing with those scattered showers into the south central region. Little Rock, we got some rain today. Could be drier for tomorrow. Another round of thunderstorms on the way by Tuesday. Same for Springfield, maybe dry.
I gotta be live for over an hour. Not even.
Dangerous conditions in the form of heavy showers and thunderstorms. Look at Dallas, Texas, just staying below normal. Dallas, I know you're loving this after all those consecutive days of 90-degree weather. Well, we're getting a nice break in that pattern, to say the least, with highs just in the 70s. Wichita, Kansas, going to be active here in this part of Kansas. We got 69 today, mix of sun and clouds. Not much of a rain chance for you, Wichita, but that changes tomorrow. We add in those rain chances, and they really ramp up throughout the day on Monday and into Tuesday, 70 to 90% chance for those scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll linger some rain on Wednesday, and then we'll dry it out Thursday and Friday. But look at that warm up by Saturday, Wichita. Average high is in the upper 70s. We're going to be in the upper 80s as we make our way towards the end of the weekend, or I should say work week and into the weekend. There's the River Valley of Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's Tuesday, Wednesday there in that part of the natural state that will be tracking that severe weather chance. Could get some heavy rain Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, and then there's that warming trend. Saturday, getting above normal and feeling even warmer, because we got the humidity to deal with in these areas. Now, we'll be back in just a few minutes. There's more Weather Nation straight ahead, but you can always go to our Twitter page at Weather Nation for more updates.
Curious about private market investing?
I'll be playing this. I'll be showing this for 5 minutes. That's that. Nobody asked. It's back, guys.
Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Embry. Syracuse, New York, blue skies this morning. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Notice those clouds there in the distance. That's some dense fog. That's up the I-95 corridor and in places like coastal Maine. Let me show you where that is here on the map. You can see Bangor visibility down to less than a mile. Dense fog into places like Bar Harbor. And then as you get down into New Hampshire through the rest of the Northeast, visibility pretty good, not looking at that much fog. But what we will have to monitor are the chance for some strong and severe storms. So notice into the Ohio River Valley yesterday, we saw anywhere from 60 to nearly 70 mile per hour winds from these thunderstorms and hail, anywhere from the size of a penny to the size of a ping pong ball. We're likely to see that again today. You can see where that cold front is setting up and where we had some of those strong storms yesterday afternoon. It's much cooler on the backside of that. Notice all the blues and yellows, even some flooding reports. We had some scattered storms out ahead of that cold front, but that's where we're going to be watching additional strong and severe storms today, highlighted where that cold front's going to work through. It's going to drastically drop our temperatures, but it's also going to bring in some pretty intense thunderstorms. So into places like upstate New York, into the Adirondacks, the Green, the White Mountains, we could be looking at an isolated tornado threat as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Now, any storms that are out there this morning, they could rotate. They'd be isolated, but it's mainly along that cold front that we'll see the chance for strong winds. The hail threat starts to go up. That flooding threat starts to build in. And this will continue through our evening hours. But notice by 5 o'clock, peak heating, where those strongest storms are, namely still west of the I-95 corridor. So Philly, New York, Hartford, Boston, all the way up to Portland, some intense heat is going to be developing, and then the rain will come in. That will drop our temperatures as we go forward in time, and then things start to improve for us as we get into tomorrow morning. But with that in mind, heavy downpours with these thunderstorms, about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, there could be some isolated flooding concern, maybe some ponding in low-lying areas. Maybe we're looking at some of that quick rise in water before things start to recede. Buffalo, New York, it's stormy today. Improving conditions briefly Monday, Tuesday. More storms by the end of the week. Baltimore, we could break records across the I-95 today. Check out 90 with thunderstorms later on today, dropping those temperatures, but drying out briefly on Monday. We're also tracking severe weather chances down into the Lone Star State. And you can see cloudy skies out there earlier this morning, some fog and some intense thunderstorms already, Patrick.
Yeah, some big-time rain, but impacting the Gulf Coast. That includes places like Corpus Christi, Houston, all the way up into Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then Chelsea, we're tracking severe chances building in tomorrow across Texas, but it's going to be more into the western part of the state where we get that instability along the warm front.
That's right. And we've basically just had round after round of strong storms here. And so that's going to be what we'll have to watch for again heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, we see the outlook here. That's where you track that storm threat from Dallas, Waco, Austin, San Antonio. So the I-35 corridor, whether you're in Dallas or more down to the south around San Antonio, there's going to be some strong storms capable of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail.
And you can see the tornado threat highlighted there, as Patrick mentioned. The I-35, the I-10 corridors could see an isolated strong to severe storm, but there could be several rounds of it, one in the morning, one in the afternoon and evening.
Yeah, and this 15% risk for wind and hail, that does include San Antonio and Austin, so right there into the central part of the state of Texas where we could get those big thunderstorms capable of those severe threats. We track it, Chelsea, Monday afternoon. We see more storms along the Gulf Coast, an area that's already very saturated. Could get some flash flooding potential down into those areas.
And then notice, again, through the evening hours where additional storms start to develop, West Texas moving across these same areas overnight, and that sets us up for severe weather threat on Tuesday.
So you want to have a way to get those overnight severe weather alerts in case you're sleeping and there's a tornado warning issued, a severe thunderstorm warning for that damaging wind threat. And as we look ahead to Tuesday, so we're getting a couple days in advance here, Chelsea, from Dallas again to San Antonio with that highlighted area in the central part of the state where we could see that scattered severe thunderstorm risk.
And the outlooks look very similar. It just shifts ever so slightly to the east, tracking where those storms will set up by Tuesday morning, lasting into the afternoon and evening. And again, new development by the end of the day.
Yeah, and all that severe was focused mainly in Texas, but look at what our model is painting for those afternoon hours into northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, maybe some intense thunderstorms on the leading edge of that complex, Chelsea.
And then as we get through the afternoon and evening, this is a lower resolution model, does show though that we could see some additional storms into, again, Tuesday night, leading into Wednesday, Red River Valley and into East Texas.
Yeah, so it's just going to be an active pattern multiple days. And of course, when you have conditions like this, we have to watch out for the flooding rains. We've already got a slight risk of excessive rain, central Texas, and even up to the neighbors to the north, Oklahoma, Kansas, dealing with that flooding threat as well.
But I also want to point out, notice where we are not seeing that flooding risk. There's still going to be storms there, and there could be lightning that starts new wildfires.
So we're going to talk about that fire weather forecast now. And again, it's going to be back into parts of West Texas, New Mexico, as well as out into Arizona. There's a look at the Mesquite heat fire, where we're going to show you some of the details on this particular fire, let alone just the smoke that's filling the atmosphere. But the containment, it's just at a quarter there at 25%. So we still need a lot more containment. We know evacuations have been ordered and homes have actually been destroyed because of this particular fire. Then we talk about the black fire out into New Mexico. Remember the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire and how that's been getting so much of the attention because of how large it is? Well, this black fire is also very large. It's number 5 on the list of the largest wildfires in New Mexico history. It seems like last week we were tracking that Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire, just kept going up the list. Well, now this black fire is going up the list. And when we look at the map showing all these fires, that black fire is down near Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Well, over 120,000 acres, yes, but look at the containment. It's down to the low.
Oh. I even forgot that was even live. Well, sorry guys, I forgot.
As we continue with the dry conditions, the dry fuels, and those gusty winds to keep these fires ongoing and strengthening. West Regional Forecast is just a few minutes away.
Why did we stuff Reese's Take 5 with 5 flavors? Because you can't handle 6!
At Good Life, we celebrate the self-actualized. Those who have filtered through the noise to define success on their own terms. Those who appreciate quality and simplicity over trends and logos. Those whose style and existence are authentically their own. Find your path, because the greatest thing you can be is yourself. Discover your good life.
Non-valvular AFib can mean a lifetime of blood thinners. And if you're troubled by falls and bleeds, worry follows you everywhere. Over 200,000 people have left blood thinners behind with Watchman. It's a one-time, minimally invasive procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life. Watchman. It's one time for a lifetime.
Discover new worlds. Discover what's good. Pantene Nutrient Blends.
We're starting your West forecast. Morning view of Seattle, Washington. Great shot of the Space Needle. We will be watching as the coastal areas, including Seattle, start to warm up over the next few days. Although we do have a stray shower or two that's possible along that I-5 corridor. A lot of the showers, though, going to be inland through the mountainous areas and off to the east, where it's actually much colder with some of that snow still in the forecast. Over the last 2 days, you can see how into areas of Wyoming and up into Montana, we've had some of that snow, come through, and we are still dealing with more of that in the high country. To start the morning, a lot of us, as you get on the eastern side of the mountains, it's much chillier, and we're starting with frost and freeze concerns because, again, the growing season has started, and with temperatures dropping down into the 20s and 30s, even in the lower elevations, it's going to lead to maybe some frost zapping, some of those tender trees or any of the, new flowers that have started growing through these areas. So as we go through the next few days, we will be warming up. Places like Casper getting back near 60 degrees. Miles City, we're getting closer to average as we get into Tuesday, where temperatures exit the 60s and break that 70-degree mark. But not before another cold night for us again, especially into the high country where we could be down into the teens and 20s with additional snow chances. We do have a chance for additional snow across the high country today from Idaho into Montana, especially Wyoming, Idaho Falls, Cody, Casper, lower elevations, maybe just rain or wintry mix possible. And then that system, this wave of energy, that's just what that brown line means, will bring a lot more rain into the central United States where we're still dealing with scattered activity through our Monday and into our Tuesday with additional rain and snow blossoming as it moves into the higher elevations. When it comes to the accumulation, it's not going to be a lot, but enough that it's going to be nuisance and chilly and still gray through these areas as we go into our Tuesday. High country could see about 3 to 5 inches of snow as you get to the highest of the peaks. Otherwise, it's just going to be rain, upwards of about ½ an inch of accumulation. Cheyenne scattered showers today, tomorrow, and into Tuesday. But notice, we're back into the 70s and 80s by Thursday and Friday and dry as we head into the weekend. Back out to the I-5 corridor, notice the high temperature in Portland today, 73, even Seattle, 70, so it's much warmer. We will cool down just a bit, though, as we have a cold front trying to work on shore. It's just going to bring in some clouds, maybe some light rain, not a lot of activity, but enough that we will feel the difference. Today, it's very mild, though. Clear skies,
Sorry, guys, I got
sunshine
bored.
across areas of Washington State, Oregon. Overnight, you'll notice the clouds building in. Temperatures drop just a little bit. Places like Spokane, Pullman, Baker City, you might get in on a shower or two for Monday afternoon. Not a ton of rain, but enough that you'll have to deal with bringing the umbrella. And then as we get to Tuesday, you'll notice another round of active weather tries to work in. It's not a lot of rain. Not everyone will see it, especially Southern Oregon. You might not get in on any of that. Boise, you might not see much, maybe a shower or two. But Spokane, especially tomorrow, we're watching that. Maybe a straight shower Tuesday, where we get several dry days before the next cold front comes in by the end of the week. Let's take us out, though. Winter Park, Colorado, courtesy of Alana Cameron, out in the snow. Can you believe they're still skiing, Patrick?
Yeah, and one thing that we've been seeing there across parts of Colorado are some heavy snowfall numbers, and it's actually going to stay active into the Rockies over the next few days. We got several waves of energy that are just going to keep making their way through the region. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've got with the fire weather alerts. Red flag warning still ongoing into southern Utah, far western Colorado, so that means that fire conditions are still prevalent, and therefore outdoor activities, you need to be mindful of anything that can create a spark or flame. There we can see that frontal boundary with the low pressure system right over the four corners. On the eastern side of that low, scattered showers that could impact areas like Denver and Colorado Springs and Pueblo later on this afternoon and into the evening. That low eventually will shoot down into Texas, and look at those storms that get going. Don't see as much as far as the active weather into the southern four corners. Maybe New Mexico, far eastern parts of that state might get some much needed moisture. Temperature wise today, it's going to be a hot one in Vegas, 93, 97 in Phoenix today, 69 though in San Diego, so feeling very comfortable there down into Southern California. Those temperatures actually a few degrees cooler than normal for today, but places like Roswell and Denver, 15 to 20 degrees below average thanks to the front that has come through. We look at those temperatures for today. Tuba City into 83, White River 78, Tucson 96, the expected high there. Silver City 76, Roswell, we're at 70 for that expected high. As we look at some extended forecasts here, not much of a rain or a thunderstorm chance in this region except for Amarillo. As we get that boundary that builds in, we'll see some moisture coming into far west Texas that could trigger some shower and thunderstorm activity. Heat is on the way. We're well above normal with that high temperature in Tucson. 86 is our average for this part of southeast Arizona, but look at the numbers. They keep getting stronger. 98 by Wednesday. How about 104 by Friday? That's well above normal for this time of the year. It's not just Arizona, but New Mexico getting in on this big warming trend. We're up to 90 in Albuquerque by Thursday, 96 on Friday, and then Saturday sunshine, a high of 95. Temperatures today through the northern four corners, so we're checking out Colorado and Utah, Salt Lake City. Good Sunday to you there. 68 the expected high. Grand Junction, Colorado, we're going to be about 74, down to 45 tonight, 40 in Denver tonight, and 36 in Colorado Springs. So temperatures even in the morning hours, they are going to be noticeably improved to how it was over this weekend, where a lot of areas in Colorado and Utah were well below freezing. There's some more numbers as far as the forecast. The next 3 days, Grand Junction will get a warming trend by Wednesday. Could be up near 80 there. St. George, how about 90s by Wednesday? That's right, Wednesday afternoon, we're up to 94 degrees. There's Denver, where you can see those temperatures staying well below that normal high of 73 this time of the year, but we're right back above that number, well above it, I should say, by Friday with a high of 88. Through the desert Southwest and the rest of the southwestern U.S., Barstow at 90 today. Coachella's going to hit 94, Blythe 97, same for Bullhead City 97, that expected high. There's some of that triple-digit heat on the way for southern Nevada, the Las Vegas area. Maybe you got plans heading to Vegas for the end of the week. Well, you're definitely going to have to hang out by the pool, the state pool, a high of 102 by Thursday. We'll be back. More Weather Nation straight ahead, including the latest on the top weather headlines.
When it comes to buying a car, does anyone care about self-driving technology? Craig does. And who cares if an SUV has 2 cup holders or 8? They do. You're gonna need a third row. And who cares if Cars.com has an entire team of researchers dedicated to finding you the perfect match? You do. That's why Cars.com does too.
Get in there.
And matching, it's magical.
What you
serious about private market investing? Get started with short-term notes. It's a top pick amongst first-time investors. That's because of the short durations, accessible minimums, regular monthly payments, with historical returns over 56 times the national money market average. Short-term notes by Yield Street. Become an investor today.
Nurses, did you know there's an app where you can easily find available per diem nursing shifts in your area? Just log in, browse, and request open shifts that work for you. Everything you'll need is right in the app. You can even get paid next day. With ShiftKey, you can control your own work schedule. Automatically ensure your credentials are always up to date and track all your earnings in one place. ShiftKey empowers you to work when you want, where you want, and for the pay you like.
Well, it was a stormy scene in Houston, Texas earlier this morning. We were tracking a strong complex of thunderstorms and heavy downpours moving through H-Town. We'll let you know where those showers and storms are heading for the rest of today coming up.
And there was a ton of lightning and severe storms across the central United States yesterday. This is all going to be working eastward, and we'll break down the northern and the southern side of those severe threats straight ahead.
And there was some fresh snow in places like Winter Park, Colorado on Saturday. Many spots across the Centennial State saw snow accumulation for the month of May. We'll let you know if we have any more snow chances building into the Rockies coming up in the next several days.
I am not a fan of snow. That's number one. Number two, I mean, when we're talking about the weight of the snow this time of year, I mean, a lot of places around the Denver metro without power waking up Saturday morning. But now things are going to be a little lighter when it comes to where those snow chances are.
Yeah, I mean, my neighborhood, it looked like somebody just went through with a chainsaw. There's so many branches in the roadways, people's yards just covered in those branches, and that just shows the weight of that snow when it came through.
That's right, and we're still dealing with some of that snow out there this morning, so we'll talk about that on radar, and then we'll get over to the severe weather threats in just a moment. As I zoom into Colorado, you can see right along that I-25 corridor, south of Parker, through the Palmer Divide, as you get up towards Colorado Springs and higher elevations. It looks like if you're above 6,000 feet, you're seeing some of that snow ongoing. I'm going to pause the radar, turn on just the last 6 hours for snowfall. It's been a very steady snow across these areas. So the I-25 corridor, as you get to the foothills of the Rockies, anywhere from about an inch to an inch and a half on top of what's already fallen, really starting Friday. So going back 2 days here, actually we'll go back 3 days, you can see some of these areas, radar is estimating over a foot of snow. And so some very impactful, heavy, wet, slushy snow still working through portions of that I-25 corridor. Not just there, but if we go up to the north and into Montana, Idaho, seeing a little bit of snow out there still this morning as well. And we'll be tracking as that really starts to fill in as the day continues. I am going to zoom out nationally, though, and you can see across the eastern half of the country, kind of where the broken line of rain stretches from areas to the north of Lake Huron through the Ohio River Valley down to the Mississippi River Valley, and that's where our cold front is. Yesterday, we had severe watches stretching from the U.S.-Canadian border all the way down through South Texas, and we're likely to see that again today. Do want to mention we've had quite a bit of thunderstorm activity along that I-10 corridor. Storms working towards Lafayette in southern Louisiana, as well as a newly issued flash flood warning until 10:45 local time. That is for Jefferson Davis Parish, as well as, what's the other one? There we go, Acadia Parish, as we're looking along that I-10 corridor. We'll be watching these storms. No severe warnings just yet, but they were warned over the open waters for the potential of water spouts. But let's get you caught up on where the severe weather is going to be more intense today, Patrick.
Yeah, as we look into Vermont, Pennsylvania, these are areas where that severe weather threat is going to be increasing from an isolated to a scattered threat. And there could be numerous severe thunderstorms that we're tracking throughout the day here in Weather Nation. So just keep it on Weather Nation. We're always getting you updated on that severe weather threat. And we've also got those alerts scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So if your town, your neighborhood gets issued a severe thunderstorm watch, tornado watch, you'll always see that information highlighted on the bottom of the screen, scrolling across the ticker there, if you will. We see here severe storm reports. Look at all those wind and hail reports, northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. This is another part of the country today that could see more of that wind, more of that hail, scattered in nature for places like Williamsport, Binghamton, Burlington, over into Portland and Millinocket, along the Atlantic shores where we're going to have some record warmth for today. There's also going to be that chance for some strong and severe storms, and that'll be more for tonight and into early Monday morning. Highest tornadic threat, that's going to be northern Maine. So if you have to do any traveling in this area, heading out, doing some camping, some going to a picnic, that sort of thing, outdoor activities, what I'm trying to get here, you do need to be prepared for some very strong weather to come through those areas today. This is at 2 this afternoon. We see some of those individual strong thunderstorms, but just scattered thunderstorms coming through along the cold front. And these are the storms that are going to train. They're going to move over the same area, one round after one round after one round of heavy rain, which could lead to some isolated and maybe up towards scattered flash flooding chances as we keep those rain chances ongoing all the way through the rest of tonight and into tomorrow morning. So rainfall potential, not extreme, but northern Maine into areas of the Mid-South, we could see that 3+ inch range. It's going to be very isolated, but it's a chance. And if we get that much rain, it will create some of that ponding on the roadways and some flash flooding. Now, it's interesting because we look at Boston, Massachusetts. What a gorgeous shot. But Chelsea, it is warm, it is muggy, and it is setting us up for not only the severe weather, but the potential for some record warmth today.
I mean, yesterday was a sweltering day across a lot of the Northeast, but big changes through the Ohio River Valley as strong storms came through. Those temperatures have dropped. Check out Delaware, Virginia, New Jersey, and DC. I mean, several of us tied or broke records yesterday. We're going to do it again today along that I-95 corridor. This is where not only are air temperatures going well into the mid and upper 90s, but it could feel close to triple digits if you're not already going to get into the 90s. Temperatures this morning, notice Hartford at 86 degrees. Boston downtown at the airport, Logan Airport, 66. As you get over to Albany, though, 84. Albany, we are under those alerts there. Feels like 90 in Hartford, adding about 5 to 10 degrees as we get into this afternoon. Although back out towards places like Buffalo, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, it still feels like we're in the 70s, and that's where some of those strong storms came through yesterday. We're gearing up for another round. Hartford through places like Springfield, Massachusetts, Boston, down into areas of northern Virginia. That's where we're going to see a chance for maybe a record to go down. Temperatures will drop after that severe weather threat today, but it's a lot more comfortable as we start the work week. We'll have more details on that east forecast coming up.
Two times in a row?
are a major transit system facing cyber attacks. So you partner with IBM to keep your data, network, and apps protected. Now you can tackle threats without coming to a halt. Let's create cybersecurity that keeps your business on track. IBM, let's create.
This word, crackers just oh, drums! What the fuck? We're back for more weather, guys.
Well, we're starting your east forecast, looking out into some of the storms that came through really yesterday, late yesterday. We had a ton of hail and wind reports that were embedded in some of those storms. And it did bring some relief to the heat that
this
was
is what I
out
meant,
there as
guys.
well.
The lightning
Some
was
of us along
nonstop.
the I-95 corridor still going to be watching for some records and for the heat to still be out there. We have some alerts, but the strong storms building in this afternoon will drop our temperatures. It could also, though, bring in some localized flooding. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Ambrose. I'm going to detail that northern forecast for you, and then we'll send things over to meteorologist Patrick Crawford, and you'll have the southeast forecast. But you can see where those storms were yesterday, just based on where the wind reports are, all of those blue dots, and the hail reports, all of
right there, guys. Rochester is right about there, roughly. And they're right next to the Finger Lakes. So that's why there's hail. Then coming by where I live had
those yellow dots right along the cold front that's slowly meandering its way through this area. There was a lot of those reports. Same thing in the warm sector. That warm sector, that's where we're going to build into heat today. So the I-95 corridor closer to the coast, records are going to go down. But there's the cold front we're tracking. And as that cold front works into this area that's shaded in yellow, we could be looking at some strong and severe storms. The likelihood for an isolated tornado is not out of the question, although it is going to be up into the Adirondacks, the Green, the White Mountains, and up into northern Maine. So it's going to be very isolated as we head into this afternoon. Already dealing with that chance for some storms to fire up this afternoon. We've had some light rain this morning, but better chance for intensifying those storms later on. That lasts through the evening hours. Notice this is paused at 6 o'clock. The I-95 corridor might have a shower or two, but this is going to allow temperatures to reach those records as we head into the afternoon and evening before those storms come in. Again, we have to remember there could be some heavy rain as well as gusty winds and maybe even some hail as this passes through. As we go overnight, that system's out of here, and then we're just left with some scattered showers off and on both Monday and Tuesday, a little bit farther south than New England, a little bit farther south than Pennsylvania and New York State. We have ongoing alerts out there for the heat because, yes, we're getting into the mid and upper 90s, but it could feel closer to 100, if not breaking that triple-digit mark for heat indices as we head into this afternoon. I mean, check out the highs. Hartford, 96, Boston, 95. Back closer to the lake shores, we're still going to be in the 60s, but that's, again, on the back side of the cold front. So Boston, you will get that drop down into the 60s, but it's going to take a little longer for the cooler air to catch up with that boundary. So Monday in the 70s, Tuesday in the 60s. As we're looking at the extended forecast for Hartford, Connecticut, today, if we get up into the mid-90s, we will tie and break records around the city. You can see the thunderstorms, though, arriving later on today. Cooler pattern back into the 70s, almost where we should be for this time of year. As I mentioned, the rain that comes through today could lead to some localized ponding, so there could be some heavy downpours with some localized flooding, especially down into West Virginia. And notice, I have to go just a little further south. That's where we're really looking at flooding threats over the next few days. But for today, scattered showers through the Appalachia. Then we'll see that steady chance for rain building in as we get into Monday. Soggy forecast Charleston, soggy forecast Roanoke over to Richmond as we get into Tuesday. And then this system will move away and we'll have improving conditions. But still, in the 90s
I'm
on
back,
the
guys.
eastern side of the Appalachia, western side,
I was messing
60s
with
and
my grandma
70s.
then.
You can see through the extended
When I was
forecast,
trying
we got
to
some soggy days
Drop off
ahead
the
with
tissue.
those temperatures dropping.
She jump
So
scared
let's
me,
take
so I
a
was
step
like,
back, talk about that forecast with Patrick, as Panama City Beach is just looking fabulous. Fabulous this morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and when we're looking at that forecast along the coast, it is changing with that chance for some showers and thunderstorms riding up out of the Gulf of Mexico. So coastal conditions might not be great today compared to yesterday for places like Panama City Beach or Pensacola or even Destin, Florida. I'll be talking about that here over
That's
the
gotta
next
be
few minutes. Also going to be
northwest
tracking
something.
some stormy conditions in our
Roughly.
forecast for the southeast region really over the next several days. But look at how warm it was this morning. Temperatures since midnight dropped to 76 in New Orleans. That's as cool as it got there. Atlanta didn't even get in the 60s. 70 was what we're waking up with this morning. 72 in Charleston. We look at those temperatures for today, warming up in some spots, upper 80s, low 90s, like Charlotte and Columbus.
Don't
And then into
copyright
areas like
me,
Atlanta, upper
YouTube.
80s. We do have it cooler in Charleston because we're going to get some coastal showers and cloud cover, as well as here from Jackson down towards Mobile. Just going to be a stormy forecast that we see those temperatures and feel those temperatures a bit cooler than normal. Not as much as a result of the cold front up in places like Tallis and Little Rock. We're pushing 15 degrees cooler than normal for today. There's the outlook for severe thunderstorms. Chelsea went into detail on everything that's happening up north into Virginia, West Virginia, but down through the Carolinas and the rest of the southeast to the Gulf Coast, there's going to be that rough weather moving in throughout the day today. And some of this could be ongoing into tomorrow morning. Look at those storms into Alabama and western Georgia along the coast for southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi. So likely could have some coastal showers and storms impacting the morning conditions for these areas. Notice how that front stalls a bit and then another system starts to interact with that frontal boundary. That's going to be a big system that's going to be producing scattered showers and storms all across the southeast region as we get from Tuesday and into Wednesday. So there's heavy rain on the way, to say the least. We're seeing a lot of yellow and orange here on the map, getting into some of those darker reds across southern Alabama and across central and western and North Carolina. That's where we're anticipating some of the heavier rain. Now, we have had, or I should say, seen some heavy rain and had some heavy rain into Florida, anywhere from Jacksonville through Orlando over towards Daytona Beach down to Tampa. Big bullseye of several inches of rainfall just within the last few days, and we're going to add some more on top of that. So the ground's already very saturated. Any additional rain could lead to a flooding risk throughout central and northern Florida in the coming days. We'll hit 87 in Tallahassee today, much warmer in Tampa, 95. They're going to feel even warmer with all that mugginess. But as we track the rain, it's going to be more for the Florida Panhandle today and tonight, maybe even tomorrow morning. And then we'll start to track those storms from Monday and into Tuesday right there across northern Florida, where some of those numbers will be on the higher end. Look at Mobile, extended forecast today all the way through Tuesday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. That's going to be kind of the normal, if you will, just some of those daytime heating storms, but some of those storms could be strong to severe with damaging winds and large hail, and maybe even some waterspout potential along the Gulf Coast. Now, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Keep it right here on Weather Nation. More of those top headlines coming up.
So slow your turn if you move and only with me. Why does that sound like the Rick and Morty intro sometimes?
Did you know a birth control pill doesn't need estrogen to prevent pregnancy? Say hello to estrogen-free Slynd with no unnecessary hormones. It's effective with a flexible window to catch up on a missed pill and periods on a schedule. Don't take Slynd if you have kidney, liver, or adrenal problems,
Be right
cervical
back.
cancer, or hormone
Guys.
sensitive cancer, or unexplained vaginal bleeding. Before taking Slynd, tell your doctor if you may be pregnant or have had blood clots, stroke, heart attack, high potassium in your blood, diabetes, or depression, which can lead to serious side effects. Talk to your doctor about Slynd today.
Summer's here, and with an exciting new Toyota, you can take a trip to the beach, the city,
The mountains.
the desert, the bayou. I think I'm sinking. Definitely sinking.
Did you know that every new Toyota comes with
Oh,
Toyota Care, a
nice.
2-year or 25,000-mile maintenance plan and roadside assistance? That's the value you can expect from Toyota.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Yes, Rachel, you made that look so easy, just like me. Easy breezy. You know who's complicated? Cows. You know why? They have a lot of mooing parts. You know what else is complicated? Maintaining boilers, furnaces, and ACs. Do you know how much time a person spends doing that? No, I don't know either, but I bet it's a lot of time. A lot, like a lot. Yes, convenience looks good on this house. You know what else looks good on a house? Address. Get it? Address. So silly.
Curious about private market investing? Get started with short-term notes. It's a top pick amongst first-time investors. That's because of the short durations, accessible minimums, regular monthly payments, with historical returns over 56 times the national money market average. Short-term notes by Yield Street. Become an investor today.
For sure. 95 at Boston right now. It's burning hot at Boston. It's about to rain soon, guys. Base 20.
Well, we're tracking a cluster of thunderstorms moving onshore around the I-10 corridor and in the panhandle of Florida. This is where a marine warning was out there. No ongoing warnings for now, but we will be monitoring as some frequent lightning and intense thunderstorms are working into Pensacola, into Destin, down towards Panama City. You can see where that line of storms is working in. I do want to pause the radar here because the marine warnings that were out there as they were in the open waters were for the chance to see some water spouts. Now, I'm going to turn on the lightning counter. You can see just within this cluster of storms, about 150 lightning strikes over the last 10 minutes. If I turn off the lightning, we could turn on that local radar out of the Elgin area. And you'll notice that we do have a pretty big bowing segment here. That bow is an indication of some very strong winds, maybe just sub-severe at this point, meaning not quite up to 58 miles per hour. But that arc that we're getting from these storms coming on shore is an indication of strength in those winds that are out there. We can turn on the velocity, see if there's anything of note. Notice, though, where we do have some of these areas getting in on the reds, mixing in with those greens here. That's the potential. Maybe we are seeing some spin, but it's very broad, and nothing is very tight at this point. Because as we're looking at this, again, where that rotation was, it'd be something within this area right here, building in. Not seeing anything of note, but just know that there could be some spinning or at least some movement with these storms as they're quickly fanning out as they move up to the north. So again, sub-severe at this point, but we'll be watching for additional strong and severe storms because the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted these areas for maybe some water spouts to move onshore, not just this morning, but also into the afternoon. So as I zoom out, though, not only are we watching this area for tornadic development, notice up to the north and east where we have this area highlighted into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and into the Adirondacks at I-87 corridor of New York State. Well, this is where we are also seeing that opportunity for tornadic development later on. We are looking at some storms to be across these areas. Everything is very isolated as of this morning. You can see some of those storms starting to fire up on the northern part of the I-95 corridor. I do want to turn on the storm reports over the last 24 hours, and you can see where that storm line has been pretty much across the entire eastern half of the country, stretching from Dallas, San Antonio, all the way up to the north and east. And that's the line that we're still going to be tracking today. We've had some storms isolated in their coverage, but popping up in that warm sector. But still, nonetheless, there is a chance that we'll have to see or monitor additional development. And so as we zoom into areas like Savannah and Charleston, notice how there's already some storms out there gearing up to strengthen as the day goes on. So We'll take you out to Myrtle Beach, where, Patrick, we are watching those conditions closely.
Yeah, and there's people out there along the coast. We expect that, right? It's a Sunday. People want to get out there, enjoy their day off, and they head to the beach. But there will be some coastal impacts with this cold front as it comes through. So heads up, Myrtle Beach could get some storms, especially later on today. And those storms could be severe with heavy rain, gusty winds, and the potential for some small to moderate-sized hail. So the outlook from Virginia all the way down to the Gulf Coast of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, southeast Louisiana, even gets down through northern Florida. Jacksonville's included out towards Tallahassee. So maybe you're watching in those areas of northern Florida, just know that we do have some severe storms on the way. This particular highlighted area in light green, this is where we're going to get that waterspout potential, where those storms are going to be rotating and then move on land, and then it might turn into a tornado warning. So if we come on and we're tracking a tornado warning along the coast for the state of Florida, it will likely have started out as a waterspout and then moved on shore with that rotation. Wind potential is going to be out there, Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, into Columbia, Atlanta, Savannah, all the way down into Dothan, Alabama, and into Jacksonville and Tallahassee, Florida, even Apalachicola along the coast of the Big Bend there of Florida. We're going to continue to see those storms building in. So we just track the front. It's going to interact with all that moisture that we've already seen coming out of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic, and it's going to keep it active in these areas well past midnight. This is a situation, again, where we might get thunderstorms past the daytime heating. When we have this type of situation, it tells me that the upper level winds are still going to be very strong to keep these storms going. So by 10 a.m. tomorrow, Montgomery, Huntsville, Atlanta, Columbia, we're going to have some storms coming through. What are those storms going to be capable of? All modes of severe weather, the threat for damaging winds, the threat for some hail, and the threat for some isolated tornadoes. But the other threat, the rainfall, torrential rain, that can't be ruled out for these areas of North Carolina, South Carolina, northern Georgia, and especially into central Mississippi and southern Alabama. That's where we're seeing a lot of pockets of that 3 inches or more of rainfall. And that's why the Weather Prediction Center is highlighting this area for today and into tomorrow, where we're going to be dealing with that possibility of flooding conditions, maybe some flash flood warnings.
You guys see how crazy this weather is? Fortnite Battle Pass. I just shit on my ass, booted up my PC, cause I need to get that Fortnite Battle Pass. I like Fortnite. Did I mention Fortnite? I like Fortnite. It's nighttime. I mean, it's 5 o'clock. It's basically nighttime. I don't remember Cartoon Network Adventure Time. Now, don't copyright strike me for just singing the Fortnite Battle Pass song. Pretty breezy out today.
So south of the Denver metro into the Palmer Divide, Colorado Springs saw over a foot of snow in these areas, 2 days combined.
Let me show you guys the weather now.
28.5 inches of snow. Breck saw 18.6 inches of snow, and Boulder saw over 8 as well. But Colorado Springs broke a record for yesterday. 4.6 inches breaks the old record set back in 2019. Of 2 inches of snow. So a late season snow out there. Still have people without power this morning, but crews are restoring that as best they can. It's a chilly day across the Intermountain West. It's chilly across the Rockies. Temperatures currently in the 40s, although it is warmer right now than it was this time yesterday. Comparatively, we're still going to be warming up over the next few days. Check out some of the cold temperatures we started the morning with. Places like Havre, Montana got down to 22. Breaks the old record of 30 set back just last year.
I've always known I could find a way to do great things in my life, to help people I've never met before, and keep the ones I love close. More time for me, more time for my family. Yeah, I can do this.
Snap for being hit by clothing?
Nurses, did you know there's an app where you can easily find available per diem nursing shifts in your area? Just log in, browse, and request open shifts that work for you. Everything you'll need is right in the app. You can even get paid next day. With ShiftKey, you can control your own work schedule.
Automatically ensure your credentials are always up to date. Then track all your earnings in one place. ShiftKey empowers you to work when you want, where you want, and for the pay you like.
Stupid ads. Let's see the weather right now. We still have that storm chance right now, it seems, but it keeps on changing. It's trying to stop it. Like, come on, it's about to downpour. I can see it.
We're starting your central forecast time lapse of some clouds in Grand Forks, North Dakota yesterday. You can see some of the rain starting to work through. We had some pretty intense thunderstorms that drastically dropped our temperatures. I'm meteorologist Chelsea Andrews, and we are going to continue to deal with some frost and freeze concerns as we head into tomorrow morning. This morning it was cold, but we are going to be warming up through the rest of this week, and some scattered showers are going to be returning over the next few days as well. Checking out the amount of rain we're going to be watching into Kansas and Missouri between now and Tuesday evening. Some of us could be looking at some localized pockets of heavy rain.
You can see how windy it is.
We're looking at about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Localized areas might even see up to 3. So timing-wise, today's looking good. Tomorrow, as we go overnight into Monday morning, scattered showers, scattered clouds start to work in. That takes over as we go through the day on Monday, especially from Tulsa to Springfield, Missouri. Heavy showers through Kansas, and that lasts not only Monday, but even as we get to Tuesday. Places like Kansas City, St. Louis, by Tuesday evening, check out some of these stronger storms that are going to be working through Rolla, down to Pine Bluff, moving through Paducah, and that's going to be bringing in some of the heavier downpours by the start of our work week, really Tuesday. St. Louis, that's going to warm us up, though. Even with rain showers, we're going to be getting back into the 70s. Kansas City, we're going to be staying in the 60s with those storm chances. And Wichita, same thing. We're actually going to drop temperatures for Monday, Tuesday with overcast skies, with rain, really not going to be able to warm up a whole lot. When usually this time of year, we're just shy of 80. Springfield, Missouri, scattered showers featured Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then we'll dry out and warm up substantially for Friday and Saturday into the weekend. Although we did break records this morning across places like Nebraska, Montana. Check out how cool it got to. Places like Havre, 22, record 30 previously set last year. And then North Platte, 27 breaks the old record of 30 for today's date, the 22nd, previously set back in 2001. Now we are going to be warming up in places like Kearney, but it's not until we get towards the end of the week. I mean, today is our warm day, then the rain comes through. Bismarck, we're getting into the mid-60s though, so that's going to feel much better. But with the clouds, it's going to keep us on the cooler side the next few days. We have that chance for rain. Not expecting any snow. We're going to be a little too warm for that, but still an active off and on pattern both Monday and Tuesday for areas like Nebraska, Iowa, back out into the Dakotas, eventually moving into Minnesota, Wisconsin by Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday night into Wednesday. These areas not going to see as much rain. We're looking at about 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. So a lot more of the heavier activity will be farther south. But check out Minneapolis. There's our storm chances Wednesday. We're getting into the upper 60s to upper 70s, if not the 80s, as we head into next weekend. That's going to feel a lot better if you're not a fan of this winter-like feel for mid-spring. Traverse City today, a high of 54. We're getting into the mid-60s by Tuesday, but not before another chilly night tonight. So again, Milwaukee, 59. We're going to stay in the 50s. We do have those frost and freeze alerts for first thing in the morning, where we're going to start out in the low to mid-30s, which any of our newly budding flowers or trees, they might get zapped with how chilly it's going to be tomorrow morning. But let's take you down to Galveston, where we're not dealing with the cooler air. We're dealing with the spring thunderstorms, Patrick.
Yeah, and that was earlier in Galveston as we were tracking an intense line of thunderstorms coming through the Lone Star State. It was mainly down into the Gulf Coast, moved into areas of western and southwestern Louisiana as well. And we're going to continue to watch those coastal thunderstorm chances throughout the day today. Heavy rain will be possible. And then we're just looking at an active pattern off and on here throughout the week across a good portion of Texas and Oklahoma. We examine those high temperatures for today. The cooler air is up north. The warm and muggy conditions are down along the Gulf Coast. Brownsville at 92, Houston 85 today, safe for New Orleans. And then we just see all those stormy conditions, especially along the frontal boundary from southern and southeastern Texas along the Gulf Coast states of Louisiana and Mississippi. But look on the southern end of that stationary front out into northern Mexico and far west Texas. A lot of storms happening in those areas. The only thing is, when this moisture is trying to make its way to the north, it's going to have a hard time getting all the way into areas that desperately need it. We were hopeful that maybe we get a lot more moisture with this particular forecast to help out with those ongoing fires in New Mexico and out into Arizona and far west Texas. But unfortunately, there's still going to be some dry air mixing in, especially across the state of New Mexico. We look to Monday afternoon as this warm front is coming through. We're going to have a lot of lift associated with it. We're going to have a lot of instability. So we're going to get those strong updrafts, those fast developing thunderstorms that are going to be building in to that area of Texas. There's the heavy rain, and we could really see that building in East Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama. Those are the bullseyes where we could get several inches of rainfall. More on those temperatures today, 86 in Alexandria, 88 in Houston. Along that I-35 corridor, Temple, Austin will be in the mid to upper 70s with those highs this afternoon. We look into the Pelican State of Louisiana, much cooler up north where Shreveport's at 76, and then into Baton Rouge, Bogalusa, we're going to be into the mid to upper 80s with those highs this afternoon.
I'm playing a game right now.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, New Orleans, we've got storm chances those 3 days, including today. So the next 4 days, there's going to be some storms around the Crescent City. We might see some rain out there tomorrow morning down into the deep south part of Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, and then Houston. Have that umbrella handy the next several days. Just going to have some off and on shower and thunderstorm chances. So Shreveport will clear out those storms later tonight. We'll dry it out tomorrow, but we add some more storms to that forecast Tuesday, Wednesday. Houston
The wind is starting to pick up.
This morning when we're dealing with some active
You
weather,
guys can't
and
see
more
well.
on the way. We get out to West Texas, Lubbock, Midland, Fort Stockton, low 70s, the expected highs this afternoon. We look at some extended forecasts getting even warmer. Midland up to 87 there by Tuesday. Abilene will be at 83 by Tuesday. 93 in Fort Stockton by Tuesday. So you see where I'm going with this. It might be cool for Monday, but then Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll start to bring back in that heat for the state of Texas. There's Waco, Texas. We're out towards the I-35 corridor. We got thunderstorm chances Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in that part of central Texas. As we stop here up into the southern high plains, those temperatures 60s, 70s, and 80s. Not just today, but really over the next several days. We'll wrap it up with a look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, we'll be back in just a few minutes, including more updates on what's happening all across the country. Keep it right here on Weather Nation.
Oh my god, the Sam plays 24/7.
Nurses, did you know there's an app where you can easily find available per diem nursing shifts in your area? Just log in, browse, and request open shifts that work for you. Everything you'll need is right in the app. You can even get paid next day.
With Shift Key, you can control your own work schedule, automatically ensure your credentials are always up to date, and track all your earnings in one place. Shift Key empowers you to work when you want, where you want, and for the pay you like. Nurses, did you know there's an app where you can easily find available per diem nursing shifts in your area? Just log in, browse, and request open shifts that work for you. Everything you'll need is right in the app. You can even get paid next day. With Shift Key, you can control your own work schedule, automatically ensure your credentials are always up to date, and track all your earnings in one place. Shift Key empowers you to work when you want, where you want, and for the pay you like.
Gotta check out this time lapse of the leading edge of the storms that just worked through. Big thunderstorms with hail and strong wind came through Cincinnati, Ohio yesterday. You can see just how big those raindrops there on the time lapse. We are looking at another round of strong and severe storms to take shape today, but that threat is going to be shifting farther to the east. You can see highlighted in yellow the slight risk from areas in northeastern parts of Pennsylvania all the way up to northern Maine, New Hampshire included, and then down through the mid-Atlantic and the deep south. We're already seeing some of those storms.
Don't copyright me because it's
Zooming back on the radar, though, zoom into the Appalachia, where some storms are starting to fire up across southern Ohio, West Virginia, eastern Kentucky. Not just there, but as we go down into the I-10 corridor in southern Louisiana, you can see we have a flash flood warning that has been issued. This remains in effect until 10:45 local time. And here's why. If we turn on just the last 6 hours for rainfall in these areas, some spots have seen an excessive amount of the I-10 corridor, 4.5 inches in a 6-hour window. A lower end spectrum, about 3.5 inches, an inch and 3/4. So a lot of rain in a short amount of time, leading to that high water threat along the I-10 corridor between Lafayette and over into Lake Charles. As you're back on the radar, keep going off to the east because we do have some strong storms from Pensacola through Destin, PCB, seeing that working along the I-10 corridor, Crestview, and farther to the north, headed towards Andalusia and into the Ozark, Dothan area as well. Nothing is severely warned here, but where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning, that's back out into far South Texas, south of Laredo. Notice all the lightning that we're seeing within this just one cluster right here. As I zoom in even more, I'll try and get as much of the other lightning out. And just within this one storm cell, roughly 350-ish lightning strikes in a 10-minute window. That's an indication of strengthening. So I just loaded the radar site here, so I won't be able to loop it for you, but I do want to turn it on. This is out of Corpus Christi. This particular severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Zapata County and Texas, and this is for wind upwards of 60 miles per hour, hail likely around an inch in diameter, and all modes within this storm have been radar estimated. I'll turn that off. Do want to turn on our triple threat product. This helps kind of see how heavy the rain is. That's one threat. The hail, second threat, triple threat being the wind out there. So radar is estimating that the hail within this particular storm is about 1/2 inch in diameter. But again, we are a little farther from the radar site, which is coming out of Corpus Christi. We can turn on the velocity here. Not seeing anything of note, but just know that there is a pretty intense thunderstorm just south of Laredo this morning. As I zoom out nationally, we're going to be tracking more of those storms into Texas and again across the eastern half of the country. So let's take you out to San Antonio, where you can see the overcast skies, Patrick, but not just today, but tomorrow the threats really go up.
Yeah, and it's just that mugginess. We've got so much available moisture. Of course, that provides the instability. So we're going to get fast rising air. We're going to get strong updrafts. We're going to get severe thunderstorms. The confidence is there for tomorrow, especially into that central Texas region, into the Texas Hill Country. There's already a slight risk. On a scale of 0 to 5, we're at a 2 with this risk, where there could be some rotation for an isolated tornado that includes Waco, out towards Gatesville, maybe even into Hamilton County. We'll get some of that rotation, but it's going to be more of a wind and hail threat with these storms as they get going on Monday. San Antonio and Austin just right there in that bullseye for the damaging wind and the large hail threat. So we see these storm complexes kind of splitting off into two sections. We got the one on the northern side of Texas, one on the southern side of Texas. We put this map through Monday afternoon, and that rain just sits around eastern Texas from Dallas all the way down to Houston. But look at these storms as they start to get their act together through Monday night. We could see some of that heavy rain coming right back in to Austin, right up through Waco and Temple and Killeen and down towards Laredo, where we could see some training thunderstorms for more heavy rain. But also those storms could contain severe elements in the form of damaging winds, in the form of large hail, and in the form of isolated tornadoes. So the confidence is also there for Tuesday. Another large coverage area from the Red River and the Arklatex down through central and south central Texas, back down into places like San Antonio. So even on Tuesday, a lot of these same areas could get more of the same weather that we're going to have out there for Monday. Now, the forecast for severe, the outlook doesn't pick up on all this thunderstorm activity coming through areas like Shreveport over towards Monroe, Louisiana, but there's some intensity there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But then our forecast starts to lose some of the resolution as we're getting that far out into the future. We lose some of the detail, but we're able to at least get some guidance here that there's going to be a lot of storms around these areas. So as we get into that Monday, not only for the threat of hail, wind, and isolated tornadoes, but flooding going to be very likely. Oklahoma, Texas, those are the areas where those rainfall totals could be on the high end. But we also want to talk about what's happening down into places like Llano, Texas, where they're battling blazes there, Chelsea. And you can see that plane firing down some retardant to help keep this fire contained.
That is such a scary view if that is your home and you see the plane just flying by, or even if you're driving and it looks like that person just stopped to take this video. But still, I mean, we're looking at some pretty large wildfires still burning across Texas and New Mexico. The fire that started outside of Abilene is up to 11,000 acres plus, and it's only about 25% contained. So that's unfortunately still spreading, and even with thunderstorm chances, you can get the strong winds out ahead of the thunderstorms, and that spreads these fires, and it makes it very, very difficult to contain. And the Hermit's Peak fire up to 310 plus thousand acres now, and the Black Fire also now on the list, unfortunately, for the fifth largest wildfire in New Mexico. You can see where the Hermit's Peak Half Canyon fire is still burning. Same thing with the Black Fire that's just outside of Truth and Consequences. So we still have several fires that are bringing in air quality concerns, and as these winds are coming in strong out of the south, it's going to take all that smoke and push it up into Colorado, push it up into Kansas and into northern parts of Texas and Oklahoma, as well as that fire is still burning out there, bringing in smoke concerns. We're going to be detailing, though, your west forecast after the break.
Cheers to the live stream. Predominant. Shut up. So let's rain's gotta happen at any time soon now. I'm starting to get tired of watching Weather Nation 24/7. You wouldn't believe what I just seen. I fall in love with an anime game. I am in love with the anime game.
Darlene knows donuts, not design. But with the new design tool from FedEx Office,
Might have to end the live soon. I'm starting to get bored. Excuse me.
What else, God? It's yours.
Whatever game you're playing, it won't work. You can't defeat me.
Oh,
I
I know.
know. But he can.
He can't.
What game you're playing on me won't work. You can't defeat me.
so look at this map. We've got an active map here. We've got severe thunderstorm watches, heat advisories, and closer to home, we have that severe thunderstorm warning. This is until 7 p.m. With the way these storms are moving, you see all that cloud to ground lightning. I can expect this to be expanded as we head throughout the duration of the show and afterwards. Main threats here: hail, quarter size, gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour, and of course, torrential downpours, heavy rains. Look at this in the deepest reds, and you Clymer and Harmony, Ellery, Ellington getting in on, and Gary as well.
I don't know what to do. Snap back to reality.
Crazy.
I'm gonna show you guys one more cool I'm gonna show you guys a cool video, then end it there possibly. Let's go. This is the channel if you want to subscribe.
Okay, now it's almost constant flashing ahead. I really don't know if you guys can see this or not, because again, I'm not looking at the viewfinder here. But this is what we're heading back into. This is what we would be camping in tonight. This is that huge storm they're talking about, where it could be tornadoes tonight. And it's all the way to my left as well, directly out my window. This is crazy. You guys have to be able to see some of this. I'm sure hoping you guys are picking up on some of this, because this is nearly all the way to my left and my right. It's definitely ahead. It's constant lightning. Oh, that was a big flash. I don't know if you guys saw that because it was off to my left. But this is just, like I said, it's constant. One flash after another. I am really glad that we are not camping tonight. Good choice, Nicole. Yeah, I don't know how much of this you guys are able to see because I'm not watching my viewfinder, but when I say constant, I mean constant. It's like somebody's setting off a strobe light at a concert or something. That's how constant it is. And sometimes it's brighter than others, but it's definitely all over the place.
Alright, let's start.
I am so glad that we are not camping in this tonight. Wow. This is crazy. Tonight? Okay, tonight I'm not even going to argue a hotel.
What time is it?
This
11:58.
Okay, this lightning is constant. It is crazy. It is all around me. It's overhead. I don't even know what's going on. This is nuts. Just saw a streak of lightning directly overhead, over the sunroof. Holy cow. Unfortunately, most of the lightning now seems to be to my left and to my right instead of straight ahead like it was for a little while. Probably because I'm actually in the storm now. But there's still plenty of flashes up ahead of me. Even though the bulk of it is, like I said, to my left and my right. Watch your brakes. Yep, that's rain. That's all. Rain we can handle. Okay,
Are you
it says
sure
rain we
about
can
that?
handle. This is sheets of rain and wind coming down. I can't see where I'm going. I don't think anyone else can see where they're going either. Some people are trying to get off the freeway. Okay, this is nuts. I can't see much of anything. The rain is so bad. I'm sitting here parked and it's blowing me around. I need to find cover or something. I just saw a pole go flying across the road. Signs are flying everywhere. Nicole's about to get this.
This was just
Again,
like yesterday
I'm sitting
for me.
here and it's blowing me
It was like a
sideways.
fucking
I'm going to actually turn the
show.
corner so I have a smaller profile to the wind here. This is nuts. I can't, it's just blowing all over the place. I'm getting hit with something, debris, I'm assuming. I don't even know. I'm going to pull off on the side here and put my butt to the wind so at least there's less of me in the wind. This is absolutely crazy. You probably can't see it, but the trees are blowing all over the place here. I'm putting my back to the wind, and it's still blowing me forward. This is insane, guys.
Insanity.
Just sheets of wind are blowing down the road here. This is crazy. This could be where I have to stop for tonight. I might not even make it to the hotel at this point. I'm just hoping Nicole and the girls get a chance to get off the freeway. Okay, I just talked to Nicole. She and the girls got off the freeway because I called to tell them this wall of water was coming. She said she got off on an exit and she could actually see everyone in front of her hitting their brakes as they ran into this wall of water. But she and the girls are safe for right now. She only put in a couple gallons of gas. She was almost on empty. So she's going to turn her car off and just kind of sit one exit back behind me. I told her if she needs anything, give me a call. I can come get her. I've got over a quarter tank still. I'm just below half. So, but for right now, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to stay as warm and safe as cascading down the road. It's crazy.
It's not like a train.
Okay, it's raining. Obviously, there's a little bit of lightning still, but I'm about 14 minutes away from the hotel, so I'm trying for it. I told Nicole I'm going to go for it. I don't know. She said she's going to try to start driving too. Hopefully the worst of it is past her as well, or at least that bad bit. So we're going to try to go ahead and get to the hotel, and we'll see what happens. This lightning's a little distracting, but at least it makes it a little...
This is gonna be end of our video of the live stream soon.
You have to have something that sticks.
You have to have something that's monumental when you walk out on stage. It has to be monumental.
Jiggle, jiggle.
Can you remember any of the rap that you did?
My money don't jiggle, jiggle. It folds. I like to see you wiggle, wiggle. For sure. Make you wanna dribble, dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat. You really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact. No slack. But luckily the seats go back. I got a time to relax in my mind. Sipping some red wine. I sit.
Yeah. Bye, guys.